What's going on, guys? Dia Ignis here with RNS episode 3. Today we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about rebounding from life. So look, we could talk all the good game we want. We can talk and say, hey, we can do whatever we want. We can, go anywhere we want without any real difficulties. But the truth is, that's not going to be the case. As anybody in this world will tell you, there are going to be some hard times, and shoot, the entire world took a major L last year. But yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Like, look, bad stuff's going to happen. It may be in your control, it may be out of your control, you never know. But the main thing is, how do you come back from that? Like, how do you sit there and say to yourself, okay, this happened, what am I going to do about it? Well, if you're asking yourself that question, you probably already have the answer. I mean, every situation is unique, but the overall thought process is the same. Sit down, you have a bad day, just take an L after L after L each day. It may be a day, it may be a week, it may be a month, it may be a couple months. You never know. You could just have an entire string of bad luck and unfortunate circumstances. But is that going to stop you? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. But yeah, if you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm gonna just try and get past this. Maybe you made a mistake. The main thing you have to do at that point is learn from said mistake. Like, what did you do wrong and what could you do differently? Or maybe you didn't make any mistakes at all. Maybe you did everything you were supposed to do and still just took an L because, I don't know, maybe you had bad luck. Well, either way, it's not about what happens, it's about what you do next that's gonna define, what kind of person you are. Like, take for example, say you've been doing really well in school or something, or you've done really well in work, and then all of a sudden something happens and you're just like, oh crap. Like, your entire situation just took a total 180. So it's like, what you gonna do about it? I'll tell you what to do about it. What you're going to do is you're going to pick yourself up and say, okay, look, that happened. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I know that's probably like the most commonly used advice ever. Like, people constantly say that sort of thing, but at the end, the reason people say it is because it's true. I mean, like, shoot. You could tell people the sky is blue. They probably heard it a million times before, but that doesn't change the fact that the sky is indeed blue. Well, except on those rainy days. I mean, like, but that's an entirely different story. But anyway, so let's say you had your bad day. Maybe you had a bad month. Like, what do you do in that situation where you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, and it's just nothing seems to be working out? What are you doing that's making that happen? Or if you're doing anything at all, like, are you in over your head possibly? It can happen. Sometimes things seemingly go great, but then all of a sudden you're realizing that you're in way over your head and you're not sure how to get yourself out of the pit. And hey, it happens to everybody. It's happened to me a couple of times. I'm sure everybody watching this video or even having this conversation in their personal lives has probably had that happen to them. Bit off a bit more than you can chew, you got a bit overconfident, it happens. But that doesn't have to change who you are. That doesn't have to change what you want to do in your life. I mean, like, if you want to still do something just because you failed the first time, or it didn't quite work out the way you wanted to the first time, why is that stopping you? Like, hey, that's really all there is to it. But that's enough of that. Let's talk about what to do more so. So like I said, you've had your bad days, you dusted yourself off, you're ready to get back up. The main thing you gotta do is start from the beginning, start from scratch. Reset your entire way of thinking, reset your entire situation. Just pretend none of that ever happened, or I don't want to say pretend that it didn't happen, but just, carry yourself as if it didn't really affect you. Even if it did, just fake it till you make it, kinda. I know that probably don't sound right, but It's a very common coping mechanism of like when things go wrong. So hey, no big deal if you decide to do that. But here's the real thing, it's like, look, when you finally start getting to where you think you messed up the first time around, take a step back and think to yourself what happened. Like, what were the events leading up to that situation, if they were in your control or not. If they were in your control, ask yourself what you could have done differently. If they were not in your control, just kind of observe. It's a little difficult when it's not in your control, because it's like, you did everything you were supposed to do, but it still didn't work out. Maybe you could ask somebody for an opinion. Just ask, look, I did something, it didn't quite work out. What can I do differently to make sure it does work out? And that's when the good stuff starts to happen again. Because like, when you really, the world ain't so bad where you can keep trying and trying, and you're like, and you're actually going out of your way to make sure something works, and it just don't work. The world don't work quite like that. It may look like it because, I mean, shoot, 2016 was just L after L, but it doesn't change the fact that, I mean, like, the core principle is the same. Practice makes perfect. If you do something, eventually you will get it. And even if you got it and it still didn't work out, maybe someone else is just, maybe you weren't as good as you thought you were. You did everything you were supposed to do, but it still didn't work out. Just means you gotta try a little bit harder, that's all. And if you're trying as hard as you can, then hey, just keep doing that, because eventually it will work out. Like, maybe you're having trouble getting an audition or something. Like, maybe you're trying to break out into entertainment. Maybe you're trying to do stand-up comedy, but you ain't getting too many laughs when you go do your shows. That's okay. Everybody takes L's at first. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. Didn't he get kicked off of his high school or college basketball team and then ended up becoming one of the greatest in the NBA of all time? Yeah, I know Michael Jordan is more than that crying Jordan meme. But that's a perfect example. I mean, like, look, good shit gonna come if you decide to let it. If you don't give up, if you don't give in, then it really all boils down to your determination level. Like how badly do you want this? Like, maybe you're trying to seek an intimate relationship with somebody. If someone says no, okay, you know what? That happens. Ain't nobody gonna say yes every time. It's not gonna happen. You gotta get real lucky for someone to say yes that first time around, because, oh boy, everybody's legs be shaking when you first start out with that nonsense. Or hey, maybe you're trying out for a sports team, didn't quite make the cut. Try again next year. Practice in the meantime. Even if you got all your plays down and everything, you could still be faster. You could still be stronger. You could still be smarter. There really is no limit. And I know I said this in a previous video, but there's no limit to what you're capable of as a person. Just say you're going to become a real life Super Saiyan or something. But yeah, so like I said, life is going to kick you every now and again. Life is not easy. It's not like when we were all kids, and our biggest concern was whether or not we caught Mewtwo over at Cerulean Cave, or whether or not we opened up the booster pack of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and got, I don't know, what was the hot card at the time? Shoot, I don't remember. That was so long ago. Oh, maybe we wanted to open up the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and get like Dark Paladin or something. I know I was hyped when I first pulled that bad boy. But yeah, that's the video today. I know I kind of repeated myself a lot, but there really isn't much to say in that situation. Overall, your situation is what you make of it. And this has been it for today. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.